Consider being here by 8, sleeping in.
Okay, you're live.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Public Health Committee meeting for the City of Youngstown here on April 13th at 8:01 a.m. We'll start with the roll call of participants in the meeting. As we do on Zoom, I will give everyone's name and for the record, Samantha Turner, Jennifer Ozinger, Lauren McNally, Mike Ray, Anita Davis, and Aaron Bishop. With that, we're going to move into the only agenda item for today, and that is supporting the creation of the Women's Pantry within the City of Youngstown. I'll turn it over to Aaron Bishop to provide us with some information.
Councilwoman Turner, through the chair, if you don't mind, if I can just get started, and
Yes, no problem.
Aaron can fill in, if that's okay, Aaron.
Yeah, that works for me. Thanks.
Okay. So, just some background here. I'm proposing the creation of this Women's Pantry program, and that's the legislation that you guys have in front of you this morning. But I wanted to just give a little bit of background and where this idea came from. And Aaron and I have talked at length about this. You can find lots of statistics around period poverty. Just a few. Nationwide, 64% of women have reported ever having difficulty affording menstrual products, and 21% have reported that they're unable to afford these products every single month. In Ohio, 1 in 5 women and girls between 12 and 44 live below the federal poverty line, and 1 in 4 teens in the US have reported missing class due to the lack of access to these products. 1 in 5 women have reported missing work or similar commitments due to the same thing. And now in Youngstown alone, we have some adult women statistics that the health department tracks. And adult women living in Youngstown, the poverty rate is almost 40%. And women in Youngstown are 13% more likely to live in poverty than males. And that's just the adult women. So we're not even talking about the 12 to 17-year-old women who also need these types of products. We all know that menstrual hygiene is just a necessity product. It's not a luxury product. It shouldn't be treated as a luxury product, but unfortunately, food stamps, subsidies, things under the WIC program, those types of things that help with groceries, they don't cover these types of products. And the average women can spend anywhere between $13 and $20 a cycle on these types of products. And so that means that these products, they're hard to come by. And there's no doubt that in Youngstown, the need exists for us to help women of these age to really supply them with these types of products so they don't have to worry every single month about where they're going to get these things. They don't have to miss school. They don't have to miss work. They don't have to miss other types of commitments every single month because of lack of access to these products or lack of affordability of these types of products. And Erin can really talk more about the calls that she gets for these products, because I know that we talked in length about how often she gets requests and how she doesn't have a supply to give out. She doesn't get funding to give these types of things out. We don't have anything here in Youngstown that really helps solve this problem. Erin, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, through the chair. So just a couple of things that I wanted to, focus on. Number one, we have our women's health and reproductive clinic here at the health department. So we do have a lot of women coming in and out of our door every day. And that is always one of the things that they're asking for. I mean, we've done, we're able to get some through, we paid on our own money, just kind of put stuff together and just been able to pay for some products for people. We've, tried to get some little mini grants here and there, wrote to companies, wrote to, your pharmacies to try to see if there's some grants to get stuff like that, because we do hear that question a lot. But one thing that really is hard for us is when I get the calls from schools to ask if we have, like care packages to keep, in the nurse's office. So often, these kids are in school and they don't have, tampons, pads. And so I did a couple presentations a couple years ago, and we were talking about starting your period and all that, and the girls, and their big thing was girls stink and everything else. And I was talking to the teachers, and they were saying often they have one pad for the whole day. And so obviously it would be it's unhygienic. So but what are they supposed to do when they don't have? And let's think about this. If you're a woman and you have 2 or 3 teenage daughters, can you imagine how much money you're spending alone on that? And we don't even have to go and talking about we are getting taxed on those products as well. So when I think about that, especially when we get the calls from our schools, I'd love to be able to have care packages to be able to give those to whether it's the health teacher or just for each teacher to have in their own classroom. I just remember growing up, and that was the big thing. In the nurse's office, she'd have her pads in the cupboard or whatever, but oftentimes they have nothing to go to, and so they rely on their nurse all the time to get these products every month. So if we can do something, we're so helpful in getting people, when I look at food and, the different food pantries. And I know like the Urson Sisters, they collect for toilet paper and, those products, toothbrush and toothpaste, deodorant, all that. So, but, when's the last time I've been around having a big, personal hygiene? And then I also think of our senior citizens with incontinence and having like larger pads for, older women, at that age, that those, again, can't pay for those, and you can't get them, can't get a prescription for those, or get anything cheap. And I look at, older people on Medicare, it's, I get a small amount of income a month. So, we really need to think about these things. And it just would be something that, as having the reproductive health and wellness clinic, we do get Title X money from, the state. And I would love to expand that program. And if we can be the place where people know they could come, and if they needed to get, pads or tampons, when they're coming to their appointment, we would be able to do that. Schools know that they could, we could turn to the health department. And with that, we could go and educate these girls, because a lot of times, they don't really know how to use a tampon, or, what I mean? Those are just things that we can help, for these kids. But I definitely, we do get a lot of calls, and, a lot of times we just kind of chip in together, at the health department to buy those products. So I think it would be awesome to do something like this. It is a needed, service here in the city. I was kind of calling around and seeing if anyone does it. I didn't find anyone that really does something like this. So I think it would be, something new, and I think something that would be well received in our community.
Lauren?
Yep, thanks, Erin. That's the same thing. So it's in my research, it was sort of like, oh, we have a little bit here. Oh, we have a little bit here. Different organizations, every once in a while, but there's no reliable place for women to know they can go month after month and take that burden away from them. But this legislation in particular that we're looking at, this resolution, it's just going to create the program. Once we create the program, then we'll be able to start applying for those grants that Erin talked about, start accepting monetary donations from the community or anywhere else, as well as supply donations. And then the program itself will be run out of the health department. Erin's team can run that as part of her what they do down there. So there's no direct funding from the city of Youngstown for this program. As it sits right now, we're just creating the program. This is the first step. Sometimes you just need to take that first step to work towards solving a problem, and that's that's where we're at this morning.
Thank you, Lauren. Mike?
Through the chair, thank you for the background information. And, I guess this is probably an issue that goes on the radar for a lot of folks. And I think, Aaron, I was surprised when you talked about, even these products being taxed, and, and we have folks in the state that want to remove tax from weapons and guns and ammunition, but not products that people need to use on a daily basis. So we look at how misguided some of the leadership is in our state, which is disturbing. But I would say that once this is created via the resolution, and this authorizes this, we'd also be able to direct city funds. We all have discretionary allowances. So by putting some of that would give you some seed money to get started, Aaron, correct? If we did that. So
Yeah, that would be.
okay. So I'm willing to look at, I don't, and throw some discretionary funding in right off the bat. I'd definitely be in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike. That's what I was actually gonna say is, my first question, Aaron, was we have storage space down at the health department and a dedicated area for it. And are we prepared for that?
So Samantha, through the chair, we do have, space in the basement of our building here. And, we would be able to put aside a room that we have a nice room in the back where, if someone, just to make it like private for them to come if they, need to ask. And then I foresee like when we, to do like care packages and stuff, we could, have things ready to go. And then, when a school calls us, I know as soon as we get some stuff, I'm going to be bringing over to Standby Charter School because they had called a couple weeks ago, for their teenage girls. So I definitely know that, we'll be able to store it and have the space here at the health department.
Perfect. Thank you. Anita? Councilwoman Davis, you have your hand up. There you go.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Am I unmuted? Oh, thank you.
You're good.
Yes.
We can hear you.
So Aaron, what kind of startup money do you think you would need? Because I'm in agreement with Mike that I'd be happy to assist by putting in discretionary funds, because I really think this is something important, and I'm really appreciative of Lauren bringing this to us. So, how much do you think you would need to get things really rolling good?
Yeah. Thank you, Councilwoman Davis. I think, a couple thousand, don't you, Lauren? I would think I like just thinking myself, they're so expensive, we can.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I feel bad. Mike's the only one on here, but it just like sometimes, I try to look like where they're buy one, get one free or buy one, get one half. I mean, we can do that, CVS, even just through COVID, has been wonderful. When I was at this thing on social determinants of health conference a couple weeks ago, she's like in charge of their health equity at like CVS in Detroit for the national campaign, and she was very big on health equity and health disparity. So I could foresee us writing to the CVS pharmacy and maybe getting at cheaper cost than what you would pay. But I think to start off a couple thousand, but in talking to people, I would donate to that, or, I know women's groups that would donate, sororities that would donate, so I think it'd be very helpful. But yeah, it would be great to have like a startup money for that. It's just exciting. I don't know, all these little programs that we're starting, I don't know. I just love being a part of the change and the good. I guess yesterday, most of us were there yesterday at the opening of the Fresh Market. Like these are things that when I go to different conferences, I see like and wish that we could do that. Like I'd see like these little markets, like, wow, I wish we could do that. And to like see it come to fruition yesterday was just really awesome. And so something like this, I think, is just another moving forward and helping our people. And that is, like I said, such a need here. And I can imagine just not having to pay for those every month. Like, they could spend $13 and go buy more fresh fruits and vegetable. You know what I mean? Because it's just something, and it's something that you need. You know what I mean? You can't just say, "Oh, I won't get it this month." Like, you don't have that choice. So, I don't know. I'm like real emotional today. Like, I don't know why, but just seeing good things happen in our city and helping our people. Oh, it's just so.
Thank- Well, thank you. And through the chair, as a follow-up,
Yes, Anita?
yes, Aaron, I will be asking Valencia to have legislation prepared to transfer $1,000 in 6 ward discretionary funds to the start of this wonderful pantry. I know how things are. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I did want to say real quick, I know it wasn't on the agenda, but can I just add this grant that I'm writing? They're going to be called Health Opportunity Zones. And so it's a grant through the Ohio Department of Health. And my goal, my big pie in the sky, is to write for 4 opportunity. I keep saying opportunity zones. It's not. It's health improvement zones, and it really focuses on improving the health in your community, but led by the community, led by the people that live in the neighborhoods. So I'm just asking you all here: would it make more sense to do like a health improvement zone in each ward, or do a health improvement zone on each side of town? So you'd have north, south, east, west, and I could, put the downtown with one of those. Or do you think it would make sense to have like a health improvement zone on each ward get a community health worker? Each ward would have like a case manager that would work so that we could focus on mental health. That the community health worker could be the person that you would go to, and hey, we're having some trouble here, with rats or with the litter, and that would kind of be their liaison. That would set up neighborhood cleanups. They would set up. We could have like electronic drives or in those different wards or sides of town. So this grant is up to $500,000. Kind of to start it off. I think that if ODH sees and we get the grant and see that we set these opportunity zone or health improvement zones up and it's working, I could foresee lots of money flowing into it. Eventually they have them up in like Rhode Island. But I thought this was a good thing to bring up today because obviously I just wanted to get your opinion as the council people. Do you think it makes more sense for you all to have like that I said liaison in each ward, or have it like on each side of town? Because the money, like I said, it's only 500,000. So I mean, like you've seen how quickly money goes. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna yield to Mike and then I'll get my opinion. Go ahead, Mike. I saw your hand up.
Thank you, Samantha. I think whatever makes sense. I think we'd all love one. And I don't want to be selfish and look at what's the most bang for our buck. Maybe it's 7, maybe it's each side of town, maybe it's 5. That could be an option. I think a recommendation from you where the need is. So it is health. It's equitable access to these things, and it can accomplish the said goal. I think our this council definitely seems willing to adopt strategies and plans that we can see through, no matter its administrative changes. If we could fund something or establish it, because we see that and we have a broader picture, I think would be open to that. That's what I get generally from my colleagues. I can't speak for all of them. I'm only one voice of 7, but
yeah, I
would say what makes sense. And I would love my own, but again, at the end of the day, what makes sense for the city that's going to serve everyone the best. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mike. And I'm just in hearing, Aaron, I'm assuming you're preparing the narrative for this and how this should look. Either way, I think it's a big community effort or a city effort because you are the things that you mentioned. You're supporting community police, you're supporting zoning, and we're all working together to accomplish this goal to lower those social determinants of health. So I agree with Mike. Whichever makes sense for everyone, and everyone can interchangeably support each other and to get things done. I mean, you guys are probably on email once or twice a week where we get litter, we get rats, we get code enforcement issues, we get social issues. So I see this being a really great thing. And thanks for noticing that those dollars out there and trying to bring those back to the city. Lauren, did you have your hands up?
Yeah, I mean, since I'm on the committee, I'll just give my opinion. I agree. I mean, Aaron, if one part of the town needs two and another part only needs one based off of your, statistics and stuff like that, then I'm happy to support, like Mike said, equitable, not necessarily, equal, whatever the need is. Let's tackle that first, so.
Through the chair.
Okay, sorry. Through the
sorry.
Anita?
Sorry, Anita.
I'm sorry, my hand is up. I have to leave the meeting for a quick minute and I'll be right back. I just want to let you know something came up. Thank you.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Through the chair. I just was thinking, okay, so one more thing, I swear to God. This just came up really quickly. So I've been working with Phil Purier with the Mahoning County lead-based paint program as well, and Healthy Homes, Healthy Families, and then Mike Durkin with our code enforcement. So really, we don't have any type of legislation for lead abatement and what we would do with families. So Cleveland City did a phenomenal job. They had this program, and see, we already have the program here pretty much. The county, we give the county health department, or not the health department, but the lead program. I want to say last year was CBDG money was like $470,000. Okay. And then they have extra money. And every time I turn around, it feels like, we have more money, we're getting more money. So, but we didn't have like fully legislation. So I met with Blaine Griffin. He was a council person in Cleveland. Now he's the president of council. And he put this through years ago. And when he told this story that they had like 124 kids had positive lead screening. And then by the time this program was adopted, they have 0 kids getting lead scores, high lead levels, because they were proactive. So when Mike Durkin would go in the house and we do the inspection and we see the high lead levels, we get that taken care of before we let a family move into that house. And that's what the county's been doing. So for example, Phil goes in, does it, and then like this, rental property is on the list to kind of push families with kids under 6 because they know that this is a safe house for kids to go into. You know what I mean? So they're on like the good list, so we have this money and we were like really working on this legislation. We were going to bring it through. Well, then lo and behold, and I don't know if you guys all know, because it just kind of like come down just recently. I just found out about like 2 days ago that next week, the EPA is going to be here, Sherrod Brown, Tim Ryan, they're all going to be here about lead. And they want to see less like what kind of programs we're doing. There's money out there. So we really wanted to highlight like this program that we're going to hopefully, bring it. But I just didn't want you guys to be like, what legislation? Because it's not done yet. I have a draft and I can, share with you. We just really took it from Toledo and Cleveland and kind of made it our own. Well, Phil did it just because, it comes out. And we worked with Mike Durkin and myself. So the health commissioner is kind of in charge of that section of this whole lead program. So, but I just didn't want you to think like we just did this and we're going to talk about it. And I didn't tell you. So I'm like, I'm going to meet with them tomorrow so I can like fill them in. Because it just happened so quickly and they're vetting people, with Secret Service and all this. And of course, I'm not going to be here because I'm going to be out of town. But I just wanted you all to know that I think it's something really great. I think there's going to be a lot of money coming down. And if we can get that program where we can be proactive and get those houses that have lead-based paste, get them rehabbed. We also talked about because Phil's going to write for this Healthy Homes, Healthy Families grant, which is like millions and millions. We haven't had one in our area in a long time, but we were talking about like big picture, like having a house on each side of town where what they do is if someone has lead in their home, they like are uprooted for sometimes 6 to 8 weeks. And if I go to East High School and I'm gonna have to go out to Boardman now because I have to live out there while we're taking care of my house, then these kids, they can't get a ride to school. I mean, there's just so many things that happen with this program. Wouldn't that be great if we had like a place on each side of town, like a duplex or something where they could go and have that place where it's safe while their house is being, fixed or whatnot. So these are just all big picture things that could happen. But I think having some type of lead legislation, because of the success it had in Toledo, in Cleveland, to say that they have no kids with high lead levels is awesome. And we have Mercy Health. They do free lead screening, they do testing, but our kid, we should not have any kids with high lead levels in the city. It's sinful. You know what I mean? And with a lot of our, housing being before 1978, it's very high, but we just want to be proactive. So we are going to be bringing this legislation up, but we will mention it, kind of like stuff that we're talking about. I just didn't want you to be blindsided or anything. It came up so quickly because of this money and with, Sherrod Brown, Biden administration coming, like it's kind of something that, but.
No, definitely understood. Thanks for giving us
I'm
that.
sorry.
It's okay. Thanks for giving us that update. I know that there is a project happening on the west side to remove some lead water lines. And Harry has a picture of what our city looks like. But this is something that the administration, by that I mean the Biden administration, wants to see with some of those ARP dollars. That's a large project, right? That can be done that we will never have the money to do again. So lead, I understand, is very important. And as a city, we have invested in that by partnering with the county last year, doing CDBG to help build that program. So we have some things in the works, and I'm really happy to see what other cities are doing to help abate lead and help support families that are having lead abated from their houses. But Mike, I saw your hand was up.
Yeah, thank you. And I don't, Aaron, I just want to make sure we're not scaring folks. I mean, overall, the city, our water department does test. I know I get a kit, I get a letter every 3 years. They test my level in my, I participate voluntarily, of course. We test all over. I believe we have levels that are acceptable, or if people do find out, they do. But this is sometimes in someone's home. It's an issue within the house, right? Not the water service.
Right. This is the lead-based paint. So this is,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All
So
right.
this is something that what would happen is Mike Durkin's inspector finds, that there's like lead-based paint. They would call the health department, our sanitarians who are trained in that, go out, do the final inspection, and then they would call, Phil Purier, and then they would be put on the list. They would come and do the abatement, and then that family can move back in there. So.
And just as a follow-up then, so when we talk about it, we are talking about, because the project, the Eddie Roy Street project, is water lines, but we are also
Right.
talking about lead as it's an interest of the EPA and the Biden administration on all lead, not just the water lines. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So this will be like two separate issues, but when they talked to Jordan Pennell from Brown's office, he was saying like, are you guys doing anything with lead-based paint? And that's when that came up, like, well, I think the health department was talking about it, or Mike Durkin must have said, oh, we've been talking about this. And, so we're like, we gotta jump on this. But yeah, they're totally two separate things. Lead in the water versus this is more lead-based paint, the paint chips that these kids, I remember my kids, they had to be tested because we lived in the city. Our house was built in the 50s, and luckily, their level was low, but we do see this a lot. And another partnership, just let them know we have the hospital partnering with us, the Mahoning County program, but it wouldn't cost us anything. It's just we'd like to have some type of legislation to put in there so that we don't have landlords that just think they don't have to take care of this, and sometimes all it is painting or just chipping the paint and cleaning it up, the dust. You know what I mean? It's not like some of it is not something very hard that these people have to do. It's just, do they want to do it? So,
Thank you.
and like real quick, I'm sorry, I forgot. We are having, there is a person that lives on a resident on Hazelwood, and they are, they live in a house that had lead-based paint. They got it all taken care of. They moved back in, and then they have a son who's a year and a half. So they're looking to maybe interview him and have him talk at the library next week. So they were going to talk with him, I think yesterday, because they wanted to have a couple people tell their experience and the program, and it's of no cost to people, you know what I mean? And that to know that they're in a safe place, it's important.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Aaron, for that. I really hope it's very, very hopeful to see us layering all of these projects and tackling things from all fronts, whether it's with the water lines and in the house with lead, and with us looking at this healthy community, working with all of our community departments, that it's showing that we're working and layering the services and things that we have to offer to make a bigger impact. I think it's something that we all want to see. So thank you for leading that charge on these initiatives. If we have no more questions from the floor, we'll go ahead and have the legislation prepared by the law department for our next council meeting for our women's pantry. Yes. And if you could provide us information about the lead program that you are going to be talking about, or that they'll be talking about next week as well.
Yeah, I'll forward you, just like I said, it is a draft. Please look at it as a draft. There's some things that we have to talk through, but again, we kind of, borrowed from Cleveland and Toledo. But it makes sense. So again, please look at it over, think about it, and we could get back together. Like I said, it just happened so quickly. So
we definitely can do that. With that, I'll hear a motion to move the legislation forward.
I make a motion to move this for consideration and passage to the council floor.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Lauren. The motion has been passed. Jen will be moving that piece of legislation forward to the floor for consideration of passage. Lauren, thank you. Lauren. Aaron, thank you so much. Lauren, thank you for keeping your eyes peeled as you're moving across the state. We really appreciate that. And Aaron, thanks for helping execute this. And we'll support any way we can. Get a drive going and do anything we can to move this forward. And then we'll look forward to meet again to talk about the lead program.
Sounds okay. One more thing, I lied. I will tell you, when I came, we had our baby shower this weekend, and it started at 11. At 11, they were wrapped almost to the bridge again, and it was awesome. So we had 188 cars come through the baby shower this year, and the director came down from the Ohio Commission director from Columbus came, and she was just blown away. So I was like, oh my God, we're never gonna get all these people, and they just kept coming, and the traffic, it was just awesome. So very proud.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know it was a really special event here in the city. If we're hearing no other agenda items, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We're adjourned at 8:30.